Hello, and welcome to the Speak 30 Challenge. This is day 29, and I call this one It's a Wonderful Life. Every year at this time, I rewatch the Frank Capra classic, It's a Wonderful Life. And every year, like the big sap that I am incredibly moved by this movie. This movie is considered a holiday favorite, a holiday classic, but in reality, it actually has very little to do with Christmas or the holidays, except for the fact that the climax of the movie takes place on Christmas Eve. But beyond that, really not much of anything. It may be one of my favorite movies of all time. The main character, George Bailey, is someone that every year when I watch this movie, I aspire to be more like him. He has qualities that in the movie seem old-fashioned. Qualities like integrity and character that make him impossible not to root for and to want to have good things happen to him despite the troubles that he faces throughout the movie. George Bailey dreams of far-off places and doing big things. From one of the opening scenes, we see him as a child talking about how he wants to go off and explore the world, to maybe have 2 or 3 wives and possibly a couple harems, as he says. And then we see him later on in his life as he's going off to get after he gets married, to go off on his honeymoon, and how excited he is with his new wife to be going to New York and to start to see the world. On several occasions, he gets so close to going out and experiencing the world, and then he gets pulled back because his family or his community needs him. This does not mean he doesn't keep dreaming. Even in the scene where he blows up on his family, all because Uncle Billy is totally incompetent as a banker. And don't get me started about Uncle Billy. Anyway, regardless. Even in this scene, which is just the low point, you see these massive models that he's built in his living room with things like cities and bridges. He's still dreaming about being and doing great things. And actually, at the absolute low point of this movie, he kicks over a model of the Golden Gate Bridge, this massive model. And it's symbolic of how his dreams are crushed. This, maybe even more so than losing the money, is the ultimate symbol of him breaking. And something that really impresses me about George Bailey is he gives these impassioned speeches throughout the several points in the movie. The whole movie hinges on his ability to persuade and to move people to action through his words. It's also these impassioned speeches and that he sacrifices himself for the greater good. In an early scene, he is shown in front of the board of directors after his father dies of his building and loan. And he goes out and defends the necessity of this small rinky-dink savings and loan because it's a place that is necessary so that people in the town don't have to crawl to the evil old man Potter and his money-grubbing ways. He also ends up saving the building and loan through this speech, but in doing so, he loses his opportunity to go off to college because now he needs to actually run the building and loan. And then later, as he's going off on his honeymoon, he has to stop the car in the rain and go and intervene in the 1929 style run on the bank. He gives an impassioned speech to the people at the bank who have a stake in the bank, not to go and sell their shares of the bank to old man Potter. His speech helps everyone see past their fears and look to the broader needs of the community. He ends up then not going on the honeymoon because he uses all of the money that he was going to spend on the honeymoon to help support his community during this bank crisis. His wife in the movie seems to be okay with this, but any guys out there, I wouldn't recommend pulling this one off. It seems like the odds are going to be against you. Before he goes out to see the crowd, the mob that's building up in his bank, he takes a look at a quote under the picture of his father. And that quote says something to the effect, "The only thing in life that you can take with you is that which you give away." The whole climax of this movie takes place when George is rescued by Clarence, his guardian angel, from committing suicide. And through Clarence, George is given an incredible gift to experience what the world would be like if he had never been born. He comes to realize that the things and the people that he values most end up having awful lives in the alternate universe where he was never born. He realizes that he is the bulwark against Old Man Potter's tyranny. His ability to fight the atrophy in everyone's life is what makes their community better. The thing that George Bailey values most are his relationships. Without him standing up bravely and acting courageously, the people he loves are miserable. Honestly, this is a bit of pressure to put on one individual, but it's a movie, and we also never know how much we impact the ones we love. The story ends with George realizing that he has had a wonderful life. And under the Christmas tree, at the end of the movie, there's a book from his guardian angel, Clarence. And in that book, there's a famous quote from Clarence, and it reads, "Remember, no man is a failure who has friends." What a beautiful line. I'm glad that I watch this movie every year. Not only is this movie leave me feeling warm and fuzzy after I watch it, it has a great message. It is a reminder that we need to be good to one another. And you never know how your kindness may improve the lives of the people that you connect with. Thank you.